Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. As the chaos in Afghanistan continues, veterans are questioning the effectiveness of our 78-year-old president. Can he recover from this, the latest in a string of recent disasters? Joining us this morning is the man who killed Osama Bin Laden in the May of 2011, former Navy SEAL Robert O'Neill. Robert, so nice to have you on. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
There is this myth that's out there right now. It's being spread by the left that the Taliban is suddenly going to become more inclusive and treat women more humanely moving forward. This, of course, the same Taliban that will cut off a woman's fingers if she wears nail polish. What'd you make of this?
Well, it's sad that we're believing the lies, because I personally met a lot of these people on the battlefield, and for some reason we captured them instead of just killing them. They're full of it, and they're going to torture everyone. They might let some people out, to include the either 5,000 to 19,000 Americans we have there, and maybe some of the people that work with us. But these are very, very brutal people. That's all they know is brutality. All they know is war. All they know is pain. And they've been actually planning this for decades, waiting for us to leave, not planning on it to be this easy. I feel bad for the women that are sitting there right now in a dark room, alone, or with their young daughters, waiting for the door to get kicked in and someone to come in and you know, if they're lucky, just shoot them in the head. Because these are bad people that kill people in really bad ways.
Yeah, ironic that it took 11 days and for them to retake Afghanistan and Kabul, and we're now less than 25 days from the 20th anniversary of 9/11. You killed Osama Bin Laden famously, May 2nd, 2011. When you walked into his bedroom, what did he do with the wife that he was with that night?
Osama bin Laden was about 3 feet away from me, and in front of him was his wife, Amal, and he had his hands on her shoulders. And I'm not sure if he was pushing her toward me or what he was doing, if he was confused or scared or whichever. He was definitely not a warrior, definitely not a hero. He was using his wife as a shield. And fortunately for me, he was about 6'4", she was about 5'4", so it was an easy shot. But these people are cowards when they run into real warriors, which we have there, and we still have the capability to put warriors there. Actually, the warriors are right now at the airfield, but for some reason, the officers who are in charge are telling them to stand down. There's a lot of people that should be fired or should resign from the Pentagon to the White House. Right now, they won't, because they're so used to fighting in a way where we can kill people in a nice way. We have Marines and soldiers on the ground right now who will fight and will kill and are way better than these Taliban maniacs. But, we haven't learned our lesson yet because we're all woke.
Are you surprised? I mean, General Milley, for example, I don't know how he hasn't been fired or resigned. I don't know where Antony Blinken is, Lloyd Austin, the people that have stage managed this. Is it possible that maybe we're a little bit too focused on diversity, inclusion, and taking down the pride flag before we abandon embassies versus actually managing this situation, this crisis?
I think that they're way too focused on that, because the men and women who were in the armed forces, as far as I know, were always diverse. We were always inclusive, and it was always equal opportunity. Nobody really cared, but they just forced this down your throat because of the wokeism. Right. Because eventually the officers who were making the decisions to do this training, they want their job at the next contracting place, before we start the next war, so they can get rich on the men and women on the ground. We're not spending enough time teaching people how to shoot, teaching people how to fight, teaching people how to kill. And that's what we do. That's why China's not going to have a problem with the Taliban, neither will Russia, because they'll kill. And the Taliban knows it. That's why, if you notice, the embassies in the Russian embassy and the Chinese embassy in Kabul haven't closed, because they'll kill you. And they're going to come in and take the natural resources and do whatever they want with the Taliban. And because they're warriors, and we're just not anymore. We're social warriors.
I couldn't have put it more succinctly myself. Kabul is about 25 miles from Bagram Airfield. I know that you know this, but I don't know if our viewers are aware how close they are. Why give up Bagram in the beginning of July? Why not use that airstrip to get civilians and our allies out and then let the military evac? And why do we always telegraph when we're leaving? Why do we tell the enemy when we're leaving?
Here's the example of why President Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden, has been wrong on everything he's ever tried to do for 50 years. I mean, and even a lot of these Republicans who are out there yelling, a lot of senators that are out there, it's like, you were in office too, and you all should lead. This is not a hard fix. Even right now, I could fix this easy.
Right.
We jump a bunch of infantrymen in, a bunch of airborne in, bring a bunch of Marines in, start killing everything we see. Bagram was fine. Bagram, you could bomb the enemy and you could have green bean coffee by 5 p.m. And we used to call Bagram the self-licking ice cream cone because it's just there. It defends itself. There's pilots there. There's mechanics there. There's a hospital there. There's a prison there. And these politicians, all these politicians care about. And it's amazing that he did this during what we call we've been calling it the fighting season for about 20 years now. We know the fighting season. Joe Biden just thought, hey, politically, there's midterms in a year. I'll just do this. This will be fine. No, this is what happens when you get lawyers, career politicians, and people like that involved that don't know how to fight a war.
And I know that you saw the tweet that was out there of the Taliban members enjoying an ice cream cone after they took Kabul. And that, by the way, you see something like that. You see these. That is a direct troll at our commander-in-chief. These 3 Taliban commandos, these 3 fighters eating ice cream. That is a direct troll of Joe Biden. What'd you make of that?
I mean, here's the proof right now. Here's what happens if you tell the truth. The Taliban get verified Twitter accounts. Former Donald Trump does not get a Twitter account. This is what they even trolled us about, how free speech in the United States is being suppressed. I mean, it's like, I feel like I've seriously taken crazy pills and wasted 20 years of my life fighting these people. Right. We could go in there right now. There's a picture right now of Taliban fighters in the office of the former President Ghani. Why aren't we bombing it? Why aren't we raining hell on these people? You know why? Because we have politicians in charge.
It's shocking.
You want to lose anything, get politicians in charge. You want to ruin anything, get leftists involved.
It is shocking. The man who said, let's go down there peacefully and patriotically. Our 45th president does not have a Twitter account, but the Taliban can live tweet taking Kabul. They still have an account as of this morning. Just about 20 seconds left. 2 quick questions for you, and I've always wanted to ask you this. Before you shot Osama Bin Laden in the head a decade ago, did he say anything? Was there any dialogue exchanged?
No, there was nothing at all. I saw him, I saw his wife, and I knew that he was a threat to my entire team. I knew he was going to kill us or try to blow us up or whatever. I did, not to be completely rude the entire time. I did have a comedian, Jim Jeffries, tell me I should have asked him, where you been, Laden?
I like that. Final question. I know you're in Montana. They're getting another congressional seat. They've had a district at large for years and years. Could political office be in your future, Robert?
Right now, I would say no, because the last thing this country needs and this world needs is more politicians. I will help veterans, either side, Democrat or Republican, because I think veterans know how to get in a room and talk to each other, as opposed to what we have right now, a bunch of people who, both sides, Republicans, Democrats, who get on TV, do their talking points, and then they go to happy hour with the other side because they don't really care. They care about themselves, their next election, political power, and money.
That's a noble cause. Robert O'Neill, pleasure having you on. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and thank you very much for your service. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.